Picture this. You're intelligent. You work hard. You understand money better than most people around you. And you're still not ahead. Not struggling to eat, but never actually building anything. Your bank account resets itself somehow. Every time you gain momentum, something dismantles it. And here's what nobody says out loud. It's not the economy. It's not bad luck. It's not that you don't know enough. It's that your brain has been quietly running a program that destroys wealth before it can form. And the darkest part, the smarter you are, the harder that program is to find. Researchers call it delay discounting. Behavioral economists call it present bias. But those terms don't capture what's actually happening. What's happening is this: your identity, the story you carry about who you are, has a financial ceiling built into it. And your brain, which is extraordinarily good at pattern maintenance, works constantly to keep your bank account aligned with that ceiling. We're going to call this the intelligence trap, because it specifically and almost exclusively attacks people who are cognitively capable of defeating it. That's what makes it so dangerous. The first mechanism is what I call imposter economics. Psychologist Pauline Clance documented imposter syndrome in the 1970s. The persistent belief that your success is undeserved, that someone will eventually expose you. Most people apply this concept to career achievement, but it runs just as quietly through financial accumulation. When your subconscious identity is anchored in struggle, in working hard, in proving yourself, in being the person who gets there eventually, accumulated wealth creates cognitive dissonance. It doesn't match the story, and so, gradually, invisibly, the brain begins correcting it. An unnecessary expense here, a deferred investment there, an opportunity assessed as too risky that would have been reasonable. This isn't weakness. It's the brain doing exactly what it's designed to do: maintain internal coherence. The problem is the story it's maintaining. The second mechanism is the one most intelligent people refuse to believe applies to them. Competence paralysis. The pattern is precise. The higher your analytical capability, the more ways you can identify reasons not to act. When a less analytical person sees an opportunity, they assess it quickly and move. When you see the same opportunity, you build a complete mental model of every possible failure mode. And here is the trap inside the trap. You tell yourself you're being responsible. You tell yourself you'll act when you fully understand it. But fully understanding a dynamic financial environment is not a threshold you reach. It's a moving target your intelligence keeps generating. The research is consistent on this. A landmark study from the University of Pennsylvania found that people who scored higher on financial literacy assessments consistently delayed investment decisions longer, while reporting higher confidence in their eventual ability to act. They knew more, they did less. That is not a coincidence. The third mechanism is older than capitalism. It runs in the moral architecture of almost every culture that values hard work. Earned suffering bias is this: the deep neurological conviction that success acquired without sufficient pain is somehow fraudulent. Psychologists call this the effort heuristic. We assign value to outcomes proportional to the effort we believe went into them. High effort, high legitimacy. Low effort, suspicion. The consequence inside financial psychology is severe. When an opportunity appears that's relatively simple, a passive investment, a structural arbitrage, an inherited advantage, a subset of people feel a quiet revulsion toward it. Not consciously, but it shapes behavior. They overcomplicate simple strategies. They seek difficulty as a proxy for legitimacy. They believe, somewhere below their rational mind, that wealth they didn't suffer for doesn't count. The fourth mechanism is the one that operates most invisibly, because it requires no internal conflict to function. Social mirror sabotage. Sociologist Robert Cialdini's research on social proof has been cited extensively in marketing literature, but its application to financial self-sabotage is less discussed. Your brain uses your closest social environment as a calibration instrument. It monitors what is normal, what is acceptable, what level of financial reality the people around you inhabit. And without deliberate, sustained intervention, it adjusts your behavior to stay within that range. Not because you're weak, not because you lack ambition, but because social alignment is one of the oldest survival mechanisms in human neurology. Outliers get noticed, outliers get judged, and the brain, operating at its most primitive level, treats financial outlying as social risk. The result? People who are capable of building real wealth unconsciously self-regulate back to the mean of their environment. The fifth mechanism is the darkest one. Because it looks like reward, it feels like deserving. Identity protection spending. Here is the precise psychological sequence. You build momentum, you accumulate. You can feel for the first time a real material distance between yourself and where you were. And then the spending starts. Not reckless, not dramatic, incremental, reasonable seeming. A level of lifestyle that was always almost within reach is now suddenly justified. Psychologists studying self-handicapping behavior have documented this pattern extensively. When people achieve beyond their self-concept, they create conditions that explain away the achievement. They spend the surplus. They return to baseline. On the surface, it looks like reward. Underneath it, it's preemption. It's the brain spending down the evidence of your own outlier status before someone, including yourself, can be forced to update the identity story around it. Each of these 5 mechanisms shares a single neurological root. Your self-concept, the neural architecture of who you believe yourself to be, functions as a financial ceiling, not metaphorically, structurally. Research by neuroscientist Tali Sharot at University College London has mapped how the brain actively filters incoming information to preserve existing self-beliefs. When evidence contradicts your identity, the brain doesn't update, it discounts. In financial behavior, this manifests as delay discounting. the well-documented tendency to systematically undervalue future reward relative to present comfort. The more your future financial self represents a departure from your current identity, the deeper the discount rate. The amygdala, which governs threat response, activates on social identity threats just as strongly as physical ones. Financial expansion, when it outpaces identity expansion, registers as a threat, and the brain responds with the tools it has: avoidance, delay, self-regulation back toward familiar territory. If you recognized yourself in any of those patterns, stop. Don't move past that, because recognition is rare. Most people who watch a video like this locate the pattern in someone they know, in their parents, in a colleague, in a type of person. If you felt it land personally, that discomfort is the signal that matters. You are not bad with money. You are not lazy. You are not constitutionally unable to build wealth. You are running a program, one that was installed before you had the cognitive architecture to question it, built from your earliest observations of what money means, what you deserve, what kind of person gets ahead, and what kind of person doesn't. And the extraordinary, maddening irony is that the intelligence you developed to navigate the world became one of the program's most effective tools. The pattern was never about your intelligence. It was always about your identity. Change what you believe you deserve, and the financial behavior that was impossible becomes obvious. That's not inspiration. That's neuroscience. In the next video, we go further. We examine the specific identity architecture that predicts financial outcomes and the documented intervention that resets it. Decode the pattern. Protect your peace.